Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the most shocking scandals and untold stories behind reality TV. Today, we unravel a tale that shook the world of Little People Big World, a story of love, betrayal, courtroom drama, and a scandal that no one saw coming. What we are about to uncover tonight will completely rewrite everything we thought we knew about the power dynamics on Roloff farms. This is not just family drama. This is a story of forgery, medical fraud, a power grab, and a courtroom showdown so explosive that one person was reportedly taken away in handcuffs, while Caryn Chandler now faces the most intense scrutiny of her life. According to reports coming out of Oregon, if even half of these allegations are true, Matt Roloff was just hours away from losing control of his life, his estate, and every medical decision tied to his survival, all while he lay unconscious in a hospital recovery room. And this is where the story takes a darker turn. We're talking about a corrupt mobile notary, a manipulated timeline, and a signature that expert witnesses insist could not possibly have been written by Matt. But the biggest twist is the hero no one expected. It wasn't Caryn by Matt's side. It was Amy Roloff, who reportedly charged into the legal system with lightning speed, fighting to protect her ex-husband from what the judge himself called a predatory act of exploitation. And then came the cross-examination, the moment everything changed. The testimony that cracked the case wide open, exposed the scheme, and turned the courtroom upside down. In a moment, we're going to walk you through every piece of this explosive trial. Who forged what? Who got arrested, who tried to take control, and how Amy Roloff may have saved Matt's life, legacy, and future. But before we go any deeper, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Motion 24. We are working day and night to bring you the exclusive stories and hidden truths the mainstream media won't touch. Turn on notifications, because the breaking updates on this case are far from over. Let's get right into the thick of this nightmare scenario. For years, viewers have speculated about the intentions of Caryn Chandler. We have seen the tension, the farm negotiations, and the rift between Matt and his children, specifically Zach. But what we are looking at now goes beyond reality TV drama. We are looking at potential criminal conduct. According to insiders and theories circulating within the legal community following the Roloff family, the catalyst for this entire event was a high-risk surgery that Matt was scheduled for earlier this month. We know Matt's medical history is complex, and any surgery carries significant risks regarding anesthesia and recovery times. The narrative we are piecing together paints a terrifying picture of vulnerability. Allegedly, a scheme was being devised to take control of Matt's estate and healthcare directives as he was preparing for surgery, thinking he was surrounded by people who loved him. The prevailing belief is that Caryn plotted to execute a durable power of attorney, either because she felt her control over Matt's finances and the farm was weakening, or because she wanted complete protection. Paying bills is simply one aspect of this. A health power of attorney grants the agent the authority to make decisions regarding one's life or death. The issue, according to reports, was that before having surgery, Matt hadn't given his approval for this complete transfer of power. Here we go from a domestic conflict to a high-stakes legal drama. Apparently, Caryn hired a mobile notary to help with this transaction, and he was rushed into the hospital, according to reports. Important here is the time frame. The document in question was signed and time-stamped, granting Caryn complete legal authority over Matt. But the huge legal struggle that ensued was set off by the circumstances of that signature. Reportedly, the hospital staff stonewalled Zach Roloff when he arrived to see how his father was doing after surgery. Put yourself in the son's shoes. He must be terrified to hear from the hospital staff that he will not be able to visit his father, will not have access to his medical records, and will have no voice in his father's rehabilitation because a new power of attorney has been filed, making Caryn the only decision-maker. Zach was caught off guard. It had only been a few hours before he learned his father hadn't brought up the idea of signing such a broad contract. Concerns were immediately raised by this. In the face of overwhelming odds and roadblocks caused by medical bureaucracy that was only acting in accordance with the papers they had been given, Zach took the decision that altered the course of this crisis. He contacted his mom. Despite the emotional distance and years of divorce, Amy Roloff allegedly dropped everything. According to the rumor mill, Amy had a flash of insight into the seriousness of the situation. Not only does she recognize Matt's legal patterns in handwriting, but she also knows that he fiercely defends his independence. While he was still sleepy or recovering from surgery, she couldn't wrap her head around the concept of him signing away complete authority. Amy had legal representation with her when she went to the hospital, so it wasn't just an argument. On the spot, she demanded a conservatorship hearing, citing fraud and endangerment as her grounds. In an unprecedented display of courage, this action put an end to Caryn's purported authority and swiftly brought the case before a judge. The charge of fraud was straightforward but catastrophic. In their criminal complaint, Amy and her team said that Matt's signature on the document was either forgeried or obtained when he was legally unable to provide his permission due to his medical condition. The courtroom drama that followed was straight out of a Hollywood script, but the Roloff family had to live through it. Due to the imminent danger to a patient's health, the court ordered an emergency hearing. The notary public, Caryn's legal team, and Amy, Zach, and their attorneys were all summoned. Reports indicated that the courtroom was filled with an electric and antagonistic energy. It was Amy's intention to reveal the truth, not to play nice. The scene that has gone viral happened during the cross-examination of the mobile notary, and it was the turning point. Allegedly, this is the point at which the plan collapsed. The courtroom shark that is Amy's lawyer focused on the notary's logbook. The notary's record is precious in the realm of law. It is a form of perjury if you falsify it. A composed lawyer approached the notary and quietly requested confirmation of his official record's facts. On a Tuesday at 3:15 p.m., the notary noted that he saw Matt Roloff sign the durable power of attorney in the recovery section of the hospital. While staring directly into the judge's eyes, he testified to this under oath. The trap was right there. Amy's attorney had clearly anticipated that Caryn and the notary would not do their homework. The attorney put down the hammer the moment the notary verified the time as 3:15 p.m. He produced sworn statements from 3 different nurses who were caring for Matt, as well as official hospital records and anesthesia logs, to the court. According to these documents, Matt Roloff was still very sedated after general anesthesia at 3:15 p.m. He had lost all consciousness. He wasn't just dozing off. He was completely unconscious. How did a man who was medically unconscious sign a complex legal document in front of you? The lawyer said, destroying the defense. There was supposedly a hush in the courtroom. Worried that she could have misunderstood the time, the notary started to stutter and sweat as she attempted to retract her statement. Yet Amy's attorney wasn't through yet. At this point, the inquiry takes a forensic turn. In addition to the medical records, the lawyer also used the subpoenaed surveillance footage and visitor logs to support his case. He disclosed that the notary was caught on camera at the hospital cafeteria at 3:15 p.m., precisely when the notary stated that he was seeing a signing in the recovery room. Plus, he had company. It was allegedly captured on film that he was seated at a table alongside Caryn Chandler. Rather than being in the recovery room, they were allegedly downstairs, plotting to alter the signature and timestamp. Taking advantage of Matt's vulnerability upstairs, they forgeried his signature on the document and had the notary lie in his official government record to make it lawful. The implication was frightening and obvious. The plot involved deceiving a person who was unable to consent. This discovery had a tremendous effect on the stand. From what we've heard, the notary finally gave up when confronted with the security footage and the imminent possibility of perjury charges. On the platform, he sobbed. Reportedly, he confessed to the entire conspiracy in a time of complete desperation to save himself. He claimed in court that he was unaware that Matt had signed the document. He came clean about the signature being fake and said he felt forced to confirm it. He claimed Caryn was the plotter and that she wanted the contract signed before Matt woke up so that she could manage the story and the money following the operation. Someone in the courtroom has to have gasped since it was that loud. Even Caryn's own witness allegedly betrayed her as soon as she testified against her. The judge's response was abrupt and harsh. Having their courtrooms utilized to legitimize fraud, particularly against defenseless people in hospital beds, is something that judges do not take well. The judge's fury was unusual for a family court judge when delivering the verdict. One of the most predatory behaviors ever witnessed by the court, according to the judge, abhorrent, in his view, was the exploitation of a person whose health was precarious. The judge swiftly revoked the power of attorney, signaling a clear decision. As if it had never existed, it was pronounced null and void from the start. However, the judge proceeded further. As soon as he turned to the notary, he discovered that he was immediately in contempt of court. In anticipation of criminal charges related to forgery and perjury, the notary was directed by the court to be promptly taken into jail by the bailiffs. Following this, the judge's gaze shifted to Caryn. The humiliation was infamous. Her behavior was deemed reprehensible by him. He deposed her and removed her control over Matt. Instead of her, the petitioner's children will serve as interim conservators, with Amy most likely serving as an advisor. The appointment will take effect immediately. The judge made it clear that Caryn had no business being involved in Mr. Roloff's future healthcare or financial decisions. Additionally, and this is the most alarming part, the judge has sent the case to the district attorney to be investigated criminally for elder abuse and fraud. The accusation of Caryn's attempt to seize power was completely dismantled. This was no mere slap on the wrist. The entire Roloff family dynamic has changed as a result of this decision. Coming out of that courtroom, Amy Roloff was a hero. No, she wasn't after stardom. Despite everything, she did it because Matt is her children's father and a human person who was exploited. He would have been helpless in that scenario if she hadn't rescued him. Reports indicate that after Matt had gotten over his injuries and learned what had happened, he was both devastated by the betrayal and filled with immense gratitude toward Amy and the children. A shocking warning that the truth will out is the scene of the notary being escorted away in handcuffs, while Caryn is subjected to a criminal investigation. By succeeding, Amy and the kids have preserved the farm's history and made sure that individuals who care about Matt's future will do so with his best interests in mind, rather than those seeking power or financial gain. Now we may delve into the more profound consequences of this occurrence. The mental processes underlying this action need our attention. The veracity of these claims would indicate an unprecedented degree of desperation on Caryn's part. What gives? This operation, why? Some have speculated that Caryn was attempting to head off rumors of a breakup or a modification in Matt's will by acting quickly. Matt could not have attempted to financially separate himself from her in any way had she obtained a durable power of attorney. It was an extremely risky bet, and she ended up losing it all because Zach was so watchful and Amy was so determined. Amy has received an outpouring of support from the community. Despite years of animosity, the fan base is stronger than ever thanks to this measure of protection. It demonstrates that the only thing that matters in a crisis is the original Roloff family unit, which consists of Amy and the kids. The hospital's part in this should be considered as well. Although they were following the paperwork at first, the nurse's willingness to testify against the chronology and the easily available security footage spoke much about the medical staff's trustworthiness. They were aware that Matt had passed out. They were aware that the notary's account was flawed. The foundation of Amy's case rested on their testimonies. Anyone attempting to circumvent legal ethics in a healthcare context should take note of this. To avoid detection, there are an excessive number of logs, cameras, and eyeballs. Their downfall came from the digital imprint that Caryn and the notary left in that cafeteria. The carelessness of the alleged offense is brought to light. They were so confident in their ability to avoid scrutiny that they neglected to align their alibis with the patient's actual medical condition. Speculation is running rampant as we await the decision of the district attorney's office on formal charges against Caryn. Is incarceration in her future? Will the entire farm be off limits to her? According to reports, the environment has changed drastically now that Matt's children are monitoring his recuperation. Now that I feel safe again, I can breathe a sigh of relief. Not only did Amy's intervention spare Matt's property, but it also probably spared his sanity. Envision yourself alerted to the fact that someone has stolen your identity and is running your life when you awaken from surgery. That would cause unfathomable suffering. Amy risked her life to save him from that terrifying situation. The program is also affected by the aftermath. How is this dealt with by TLC? Is it okay to keep filming a pair if one of them is being investigated for fraud? This scandal has the potential to either kill the program as we know it or completely change the storyline so that it focuses on the family getting back together without Caryn. Season after season, fans have voiced their suspicion of Caryn, with many attributing her aloofness to her interest in the farm. If this lawsuit is successful, it will confirm all of the audience's worst suspicions. For the followers who have supported Amy throughout the divorce and all the drama that followed, it is the pinnacle of an "I told you so" moment. It has come to light that these incidents have caused Matt to reevaluate his whole estate strategy. Everything is once again up for grabs. The farm, the mansion, the heritage. The possibility of the farm remaining in the family, maybe passing it down to the grandchildren or being run by the lads, has increased dramatically now that faith in Caryn has been broken. Unintentionally, the long-awaited settlement has been made possible by this botched coup. The property is being held by the Roloffs. It's ironic that Matt could end up returning to his ex-wife and kids if Caryn's attempt to take control does the trick. According to the lawyers we spoke with, the confession of the notary is the final straw. That there was a conspiracy is plainly evident. The element of he said, she said is replaced with a confession to a crime. While this bodes well for the conservatorship's civil case, it casts a long shadow on Caryn's criminal defense. She faces severe repercussions if the notary, in an effort to benefit himself, testifies against her in a criminal prosecution. Possible accusations include conspiracy, elder abuse, fraud, and forgery. This is a serious offense that carries a prison sentence. This is the real deal. The legal system is cracking down. And it's not even a reality TV scenario anymore. In this case, Amy's lawyer is really deserving of praise. Brilliantly, the proof was revealed after the notary committed perjury on the stand. Without it, he would never have been able to escape the deception. The notary may have modified his story or pled the fifth if the counsel had disclosed the facts earlier. The lawyer had the notary fall into a trap when he allowed him to testify about the 3:15 p.m. time. The skill of cross-examination was on full display. Amy possesses an incredibly amazing strength of character to fund this, risking her own resources for her ex-husband. It demonstrates that no amount of external manipulation can break the strength of a family's tie, no matter how broken. We can only speculate about what Matt will say now that we are looking forward. His new legal counsel, who Caryn most certainly does not approve of, has advised him to remain silent thus far. His interview will be the most watched in the show's history when he finally gets up to talk. Will he pursue legal action? Will Caryn be evicted? Will Amy be publicly thanked by him? Knowing his loved ones have his back must provide immense solace amidst the emotional turmoil caused by this betrayal. Amy Saves Matt has an impactful storyline. After years of fighting, it turns the tables. It casts Amy in a new light, showing her as the guardian of the Roloff heritage rather than the resentful ex. For her remaining detractors, It's a salvation. This wasn't necessary for her to do. She may have delegated authority to Caryn. She could have avoided dealing with Matt's issues altogether. Unfortunately, she failed to do so. Took a step forward. As a result, Matt is no longer in danger. The notary is now serving time, and Caryn must face the consequences. Keep watching as this news is moving at a quick pace. In the event that the arrests go forward as the judge suggested, we might see further statements from family representatives, additional courthouse leaks, and maybe even mugshots. Everyone is watching as the Little People Big World saga reaches a surprising turning point. Our coverage of the criminal investigation will remain ongoing, and we will provide you with updates regarding the district attorney's decision as soon as it is announced. This is the application of justice, and it serves as a sobering reminder that no amount of cunning can ever allow you to evade the truth. Thanks to Tori Roloff, the truth is now visible to everyone, and the hospital logs and cameras don't lie either. Even though the courthouse has barely cleared the air, Roloff Farms is about to go into full-blown anarchy. You would have been greatly mistaken to think that the trial was the last act in this epic tale. Details are emerging from the immediate aftermath of the verdict that are very shocking, and what we are seeing now is the gradual breakdown of a falsehood that has persisted for years. The property is being escorted by police, a forensic audit is finding missing monies, and Matt Roloff has the devastating conclusion that the lady he was going to spend the rest of his life with might have treated him like a paycheck. The information we are receiving from our insider sources portrays a picture of a family circling the wagons and a desperate woman cornered by the incontrovertible evidence of her own avarice. We are returning to the firehead without hesitation. The judge's verdict was the spark, but the explosion happened when the authorities arrived at the farm. Make sure you've liked the video and subscribed to Motion 24 before we get into the shocking new evidence about the notary's phone. The mainstream media is too scared to touch these exclusive theories and deep dives, but we're working around the clock to bring them to you. Get in on the action by becoming a member of our community and enabling push notifications. We'll begin with what happened supposedly shortly after the judge removed Caryn's authority and remanded the notary into custody. A group of vehicles, including what appeared to be sheriff's deputies, rolled up to Roloff Farms, according to eyewitnesses and residents. Nothing about this call was social. The Roloff children gained instant control of Matt's assets through the temporary conservatorship that was awarded to them. According to the news accounts, Caryn was given less than 2 hours to leave the building. Envision the scene: the matriarch of the farm, who over the past few years has rebuilt the house and altered the dynamics, being brought away from the land by the police. We learn that Zach was present, standing at the gate, checking that nothing pertaining to the farm or his father was left in Caryn's vehicle. This is the last straw that will bring an end to her reign and the height of humiliation. But the bodily removal of Caryn is simply the top of the iceberg. The real story is what investigators are finding now that they have access to the digital footprint of this scheme. In case you forgot, the notary broke his jaw while testifying. According to reports, his collaboration has unleashed a deluge of digital evidence. Sources claim that the district attorney's office has subpoenaed the text message history between Caryn and the notary leading up to the procedure. These purported messages contain terrifying content. We are hearing theories that there is a text sent just 20 minutes before the notary arrived at the hospital which read, "He is under. It's now or never." Premeditation can be proven if this text exists. It disproves the idea that this was an innocent oversight or miscommunication and instead establishes that Matt was the target of a premeditated attack. The story shifts from deceit to a plot including malevolent intent. We must discuss Matt even though this legal storm is brewing. For all that has happened, Matt's waking is the most tragic part. It is unpleasant to wake up after a major operation, only to discover your world has been flipped upside down. According to medical reports, Amy and Zach were the ones who told him the bad news. They were compelled to provide an explanation for Caryn's absence, the presence of attorneys in the corridor, and the appointment of a temporary conservator. According to the insider theory, Matt was skeptical at first. Denial was his stance. By saying it was all just a misunderstanding, he supported Caryn. However, it is said that Amy subsequently showed him the security footage, which included Caryn and the notary conspiring in the cafeteria while he was unconscious. The dam broke at that point. Word on the street is that Matt totally lost it. Not only did he end a relationship, but he also came to terms with the fact that his gut had been sorely wrong. Along with being utterly alone, he felt naive and betrayed. But the supporters' prayers have been answered, and a reconciliation has begun because of this weakness. This outside danger has seemingly erased the breach between Matt and Zach that has characterized the last many seasons. Then Zach took the lead. There was no "I told you so." He was only trying to shield his father from harm. Plus, he had company. Tori Roloff, who supposedly had cut ties with the show and the farm drama for a long time, has supposedly come back to lend his father a hand. Matt is surrounded by a formidable barrier in the picture of the Roloff brothers banding together once more. The fact that they are coming together to protect the farm from an outsider implies that the very thing that drove a wedge between them is now pulling them closer together. Now, let's trace the flow of funds. At this point, the plot has the makings of a federal issue. An independent forensic accountant was allegedly hired to examine the farm's financial records once the conservatorship was established to make sure that no assets were disclosed during the mayhem. According to rumors spread by insiders, the results are quite concerning. Rumor has it that organizations under Caryn's control have received consultation fees and management bonuses in the past 18 months, allegedly adding up to a substantial amount. These transactions were too tiny to be noticed separately. Matt may have been a victim of embezzlement if he was forced to sign checks or if these transactions were performed without his explicit informed agreement. That would explain Caryn's desperation in obtaining the power of attorney. Before a possible audit could uncover them, she may have felt the need to cover her tracks or justified previous transactions. Legal professionals are perplexed by the scheme's chutzpah. Give me a break. The prevailing view is that Caryn thought she could influence Matt's reality perception to her fullest extent. She had cut him off from his children, controlled his schedule, and probably assumed that Matt would support her regardless of what happened if his children found out. Amy had been underrated by her. She failed to remember that Amy Roloff had spent 30 years on the property and was familiar with all of the grave's locations. Amy's participation was the unknown factor that Caryn failed to consider. Amy battled not only for Matt, but also for her grandchildren's inheritance. The power of attorney was exposed to her as a means to either sell off the farm or alter the will in order to exclude the children totally. The possible criminal charges are pending, so let's talk about them. Allegedly, a long list of charges is before the district attorney. Given the worth of the estate she sought to take control of, in addition to the charges of fraud and forgery, she may have also attempted grand theft. In addition, there are stringent regulations in place to protect vulnerable adults in Oregon from abuse. One clear example of exploitation is trying to have a patient who is under anesthesia sign a legal document. Caryn may find herself in a trial comparable to the most high-profile celebrity scandals if the district attorney chooses to use this case as an example. The notary, who is probably trying to reduce the amount of time he spends in prison, is probably being as cooperative as a canary by recording talks, dates, and times that paint Caryn as the mastermind behind the scheme. Now let's talk about TLC. There is a lot of uncertainty about the network. Hours of video capture Caryn and Matt's joyous relationship. It seems like that footage now constitutes proof. The uncut versions of the tapes, in which Caryn may have messed up or revealed her real colors, are what fans are requesting from TLC. Despite popular demand, A special episode chronicling the trial and inquiry may be impossible to produce due to legal hurdles. The production team, however, is allegedly in a mad dash to change direction for the next season. A family sitcom has taken a dark turn, with the plot shifting from "will they get married" to "will she go to prison?" The ratings potential is evident, but the decision is controversial. Think about it from the other woman perspective as well. The notary's relationship, not a romantic rival. What led this particular notary to consent to the commission of a crime? He allegedly had a lot of debt and was promised a lucrative job as the estate manager once Caryn assumed complete control, according to insider theories. A long-term plan is indicated by this, not just any old decision. This was a complete and utter coup. A conspiracy accusation is sure to be filed in response to an offer of future employment in return for forgery of a signature. It reveals that Caryn had a vision of a future in which she ran Roloff Farms solo, with Matt playing a supporting role or worse, completely absent. Everyone in Hillsborough is very animated right now. The village is startled that a crime of this nature could have occurred on the Roloff property, given they are well-known figures in the area. Amy walked with an assurance we haven't seen in years, according to witnesses at the nearby courthouse. Instead of being a victim of her divorce, she emerged triumphant from a court struggle that preserved the family's heritage. Chris and her relationship is also getting a lot of attention. Reportedly, Chris has been steadfast, showing no signs of envy as he backs Amy's decision to assist Matt. The focus is on the kids and their shared past, and he gets it. This has solidified Chris's status as a fan favorite and demonstrated his confidence to allow Amy to play the hero for her ex-husband. The grand jury will be the center of attention in the coming weeks. The district attorney will most likely use the evidence, which includes the medical records, surveillance footage, text messages, and the confession of the notary public to get an indictment. Caryn will face formal charges and most likely an arrest once the indictment is dropped. Caryn Chandler's mugshot could end up in the headlines. Just looking at that picture would put an end to any perception of her as anything other than a cautionary story in the public eye. And then there's the Roloff wall. The internet is starting to embrace this phrase. What Amy, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob are all presenting as one is what it means. It has been reported that all 4 siblings have been in touch, arranging to meet at the farm and the hospital. Despite his history of harsh criticism of the farm's leadership, Jacob is said to have played a key role in physically securing the property by utilizing his familiarity with the area to prevent any unwanted visitors. Years of treatment failed to accomplish what this crisis has accomplished. Family priorities have been rearranged as a result. Despite their disagreements, they come to the realization that the farm and their father are worth standing up for. It's as if Matt's future has been erased. Reports indicate that construction on the retirement home he was building with Caryn has come to a standstill. The reports of an engagement? Dead. After surgery, Matt will be alone while he recovers, but he will never be far from his loved ones. That's a win, but it's bittersweet. Despite losing his partner, he still has his farm and children. But fans are unanimous in their belief that he narrowly avoided disaster, a symbolic and literal bullet. If Caryn's power of attorney had been valid, she might have prioritized her own interests over Matt's medical care and potentially ended his life if anything went wrong while he was recovering. Word on the street is that Matt can't sleep at night due to this terrible thinking. It has come to light that Matt intends to sue Caryn in civil court for damages related to emotional anguish and breach of fiduciary duty. This would put a stop to any plans she may have to make money off of any tell-all books or interviews by freezing her assets. Matt intends to make sure that the Roloff name never again brings her any money. He has a scorched earth strategy, but who could blame him after her purported actions? A rumor about a clandestine recording provides the last twist in this chapter of the story. An old businessman named Matt allegedly forgot to inform Caryn that he had put security cameras and microphones in the farm office years ago. The story goes that a recording of Caryn speaking with the notary over the phone from the farm office a few days prior to the surgery exists, in which she discusses in detail the schedule and the necessity of avoiding the children. The nuclear option would be to use this tape if it exists and can be admitted into court. That this was an impersonal, business-driven decision rather than an act of fervor or desperation would be demonstrated. Legal experts have speculated that Caryn should begin seeking a plea bargain immediately if this tape is genuine, but we are still waiting for confirmation of its existence. This story is far from over. The legal process is slow, but the unraveling of Caryn's life is happening at light speed. We will continue to dig into the financial audit results as they leak. We are monitoring the docket for the grand jury announcement, and we are waiting for the first public statement from Matt Roloff. When he speaks, it will likely be the highest-rated moment in the history of the franchise. Until then, keep your eyes on the channel. The betrayal runs deep, but justice is coming. Amy Roloff didn't just win a court case. She reclaimed the narrative. She proved that you can move on, find new love, and still fiercely protect the family you built. That is the headline. That is the story. And we will be here to tell you what happens next. More update. LPBW Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler delay dream wedding. Why? Amy Roloff shares update on dad after death hoax. And Tori Roloff breaks silence about secretly having twins. Matt Roloff breaks silence about his sad breakup. I will explain everything. Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler from Little People Big World want to get married in 2024. This has been the case since they were engaged. But according to the latest gossip, their dream wedding will have to wait. So what's going on with this now? Matt Roloff asked Caryn Chandler to marry him in season 25 of Little People Big World. TLC made a huge deal out of Amy Roloff demanding to see the ring and more, as viewers watched. Caryn Chandler still divides fans of Little People Big World when it comes to what people think of her. But in the last few years, she has been there for Matt when he needed someone the most. So, in a lot of ways, it makes reasonable that these two would eventually get married. As soon as Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler's engagement on Little People Big World was public, the next issue was when the wedding would occur. This is especially true when you think about how season 25 concluded. The future of Little People Big World is up in the air now that Zach Roloff and Tori Roloff have officially left the show. But if it does get canceled, a lot of fans would love to see a wedding special, which the network has done before. At first, Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler wanted to get married in 2024. But according to the latest gossip, such preparations are on hold for an unknown amount of time. An inside source just told us that the delay is because Matt Roloff's mom needs a lot of extra care as she gets older. The source told the U.S. Sun, Caryn and Matt's wedding was supposed to be in May, but it is now delayed with no set date other than possibly at the end of the year. They have been talking about getting married in Hawaii now, but they are still looking at ideas and it's still very early in the planning stages. The source went on to say, they decided to put it off because Matt's mom needs a lot of extra care right now because she is getting older. They also haven't had enough time to get ready for a wedding this year because pumpkin season is coming up. It looks like the wedding is on hold for a long time because Matt and Caryn have so much going on. So, this is something to keep an eye on, especially if they set a date at some point in the future. Amy Roloff shares update on dad after death hoax. Amy Roloff, who is on the show Little People Big World, recently gave an update on her dad after the death fake that went around. What did Amy say in this recent report on how her father is doing today? There was a Little People Big World death fake not too long ago that said Amy Roloff's dad had died. When this news started to spread, a lot of people believed it because Amy's dad is 96 years old and clearly getting up there in age. The good news is that Amy Roloff was able to quickly address the rumor and put it to rest. Amy assured her Little People Big World supporters that her father was alive and well, even though there were a lot of rumors saying he had died. Supporters were happy to hear this. People like Amy Roloff, Matt Roloff, and even Chris Merrick have a lot more free time now that shows like Little People Big World have been canceled and are no longer filming. One thing Amy has had more time to do is visit her family in Michigan, where her dad lives. Amy Roloff has been going to see her dad in Michigan. She even offered her fans an update on his health based on the most recent news about her. Amy said she told her dad a story on Instagram. Amy also added, "My dad's still going strong and hanging in there at 96, along with a picture of the two of them. I'm really glad I got to see him again." Amy also wrote, "In the Upper Peninsula of Michigan at the cabin." Most of the followers of Little People Big World adore getting updates like these from Amy Roloff. She is receiving valuable time with her dad and having fun in Michigan at the same time. After the death hoax, fans are happy to see that Amy's dad is alive and well and living his life. Most fans of Little People Big World agree that updates like this will never be the same as getting full episodes as part of a TLC season. However, Roloff family fans still like getting updates like this because they help them stay up to date on what Amy and the other cast members are up to. What do you think of the most recent news from Amy and her dad? Please leave your comments below. Tori Roloff breaks silence about secretly having twins. Fans are still curious in what occurs in the life of the actors, even after LPBW concluded in 2024. Earlier this summer, Matt Roloff said on social media that his engagement to Caryn Chandler was over. Sadly, TLC cameras weren't there to catch the news. Tori and Zach Roloff were big parts of the final seasons of Little People Big World. They already have 3 kids, but did they secretly want more? Tori talks about having twins for the first time. Read on to find out what she said. The TLC show was Zach and Tori Roloff's major source of income for years. It had 25 seasons, but Tori didn't join until the 10th. Viewers observed how their romance began, how they got married, and how they welcomed their first kid. The family had to find a new way to make money after the show stopped. Tori Roloff went back to a job she had before she became a stay-at-home mom. She is now a preschool teacher at Firm Foundation Christian School in Battle Ground, Washington. In 2021, Zach and Tori moved from Oregon to Battle Ground. The transfer was the beginning of the end for LPBW when they left the Roloff farm. The Roloffs had their first child, Jackson, in 2017. He turned 8 this year. In 2019, the family got Lila, who is now 5 years old. In 2022, the stars of LPBW had their third child, a boy named Josiah. Their father passed on achondroplasia, a type of dwarfism, to all 3 of them. Tori's emotional and physical health suffered after they were born. Even though Tori Roloff said they were done having babies, speculations about her being pregnant keep coming up. One online rumor went even further than the pregnancy and alleged that Tori and Zach had twins in secret. There were pictures of the LPBW stars holding 2 newborns in the news stories. Tori Roloff used Instagram to talk about the rumors that she had twins in secret. "I really can't take the internet today." She added on one of the pictures of her and Zach holding twins, "The number of people who have sent this to me." She put an end to the speculations by saying, "No, we didn't have secret twins." Tori said, "The internet is reaching. Fake AI pictures and press stories hurt more than just the LPBW stars." Steve Burton, a soap opera star, had to respond to rumors that he has cancer after a number of news reports appeared in various Facebook groups. These days, AI-generated pictures are a significant problem on social media, and it's not just for famous people. Sadly, many individuals trust the false news articles without checking them out. Make sure a photo with a shocking headline is real before you share it the next time you encounter one. Matt Roloff breaks silence about his sad breakup. Many fans of the Roloff family were shocked when Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler broke up on Little People Big World. Matt recently spoke out about the breakup after everything that happened. So what did he say? Matt Roloff recently told his Little People Big World fans that he and Caryn Chandler have decided to break up and go their own ways. Some people have never liked Caryn, but a lot of people were startled when Matt confirmed the breakup. A lot of people thought these two would be together for a long time. Fans of Little People Big World watched that Matt asked Caryn to marry him, and she even showed off the ring to Matt's ex, Amy Roloff. There was even going to be a wedding in Hawaii in 2024. But that had to wait because Matt had to take care of his mother and other things. When Matt Roloff first revealed he was breaking up with Caryn, he said it was a friendly split. But subsequently, a source from Little People Big World indicated that things weren't as friendly as Matt made them sound, and that Caryn wanted out of the whole thing. Matt Roloff recently talked about his breakup with Caryn Chandler on social media. Matt told his fans that this breakup has been heartbreaking and that there have been a lot of adjustments. When you live your life the way Matt and Caryn did for so long, it leaves a significant hole in your life when things go wrong like this. Matt Roloff went on to say that he is continuing to move forward. One way he is doing this is by getting ready for the pumpkin season that is coming up. Jacob Roloff even claimed that there would be a market with several booths that tourists may wander through and explore. This is a significant appeal for Roloff Farms. Even though Matt is going through a lot of personal pain, he seems to be focusing on his profession to keep his mind busy and stay engaged. Matt Roloff talked about his breakup with Caryn Chandler and his plans for pumpkin season on Little People Big World. Fans had a lot to say about it, including words of encouragement for Matt as he struggles with the fallout from the breakup. Someone said, "Wow, that was a big surprise on Monday morning. I hope you both have a great time. I hope Amy is still with Chris. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.